and that's kind of where Quicksands and Sandbagged, which is the second one in the series, came from, and I'm working on the third one now. And later in life, I became a big fan of F. Paul Wilson, Repairman Jack, and I really enjoy Reacher. I understand it's fluff, but I really enjoy it. As a reader, I enjoy it. Bosch, these guys, these alpha males, and I bring a lot of that stuff into all of my books. I'm kind of one-dimensional that way. Most of my pro tags are male alphas surrounded by really strong women and minorities. I try and feed off of that. I don't really go into trying to write other people because I don't know if I have the chops yet. I mean, I've written a little bit of from a woman's perspective, but some of these other perspectives, I mean, I would never. I'm not. Hawk is an African American in Throwback, but he was an astronaut. So, that's a stereotypical thing that I was comfortable doing. I'm not comfortable because I don't feel I've had the experience, and I feel like I would gloss over issues that, as a person of color, I should know. So I try and steer towards what I know with my protagonists. I'm an aging white dude, and I try and stay there, but it makes me kind of a little one-dimensional. I've been criticized for that. But those books, lend it to that. These action adventure novels. I really try and write what I know. I know that's an old adage, but that does put me at a disadvantage. I know a guy who writes just from the female perspective. He's got, he's comfortable with that. I just don't know that I am. What about you? Do you write from all these different ethnic POVs and from the female POV and all that?
I do. I don't know how successfully. I don't know that it's a conscious choice. Sometimes I'm just more interested in the person who's not me. So not even just identity changes. Like I'll write from perspectives of people who believe things I don't believe, and
Mm,
then try to write them uh,
yeah,
honestly, to where it makes sense that a person would believe that. And I just find that character more interesting to me as a writer than someone who's just me. Like
yeah,
I already get why I think what I think, and
yeah.
I've never been a guy who's tried to write a proselytic idea into a book. So I'm never trying to convince anybody of anything. So even though I may believe something, it's not important to me that that idea gets across in a story. Like typically I'll explore an idea I don't believe and actually try to make that work for a character or something like that. So I'm sure people can read a bunch of stories I've written and maybe conclude incorrectly of what I think or what I feel or those kind of things. Um, but I've always kind of thought in the terms of like trusting the audience. So like
Yeah.
whatever ideas are there, I just let them come to whatever conclusions they're going to come to. But I have tried to write from different perspectives, and one of my big series has a couple gay male characters who are the leads, and being a straight male, like I was I guess I would call it conscious respect, the idea of writing somebody who's not you, and kind of being aware as you're going through and any choices I'm making for the character. I'm like, okay, is this the right choice for the character, or am I falling into something safe,
Right.
easy, stereotypical? Like if it feels like I'm going that direction just because my brain goes there faster, then maybe I take a step back and think, okay, is that right for the character, or is that just where my brain easily goes because that's what I've been conditioned to think, or that kind
Yeah.
of thing. And then also, anytime you're writing anybody, whether the person looks like you or is somebody different, I always think in terms of don't try to write this person as the entire identity. So like if I'm writing a gay male character, he's not all gay men. He's himself. So he may make choices that are different from somebody that holds the same identity. And so it's important to think, okay, this is an individual and they don't represent everybody. So I can't make choices based on here's the entire social construct of a minority or of an identity or anything like that. You still have to think, okay, this is an individual, and how does this individual think? It's trickier, I think, than just writing myself,
Yeah.
and I still do that. I still write
I'm always
myself.
nervous that I'm not going to be aware of some of those stereotypes.
Right.
That's like, I think what, I work nonstop. I'm never out. I have no clue. I really don't know what a life of a gay man is like out there. I mean, I know what I see, but I think I would be, you hit exactly, I guess, on my fear that I'm gonna misinterpret, or I'm going to not even be aware of a stereotype,
Right.
and then you end up offending people, and that's not why I'm in this game.
Right.
But what you're doing is definitely riskier, I think, and that comes down to, as a writer, you must take risks.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do with these male macho guys is they're always flawed, man. Every single one of them is flawed, and they're all flawed in different ways. Really, I write anti-heroes in many cases. I just discovered that a couple years ago. I started really looking at my characters, and I'm like, I really write anti-heroes because these people, their ethics are solid, and they try and do the right thing, but they've done some bad things.
Yeah.
And their reasoning isn't always sound, and that's drawing directly on my my life. Always remember, King. I'm sure you've read On Writing. You said
Yeah.
you're going through the thing. He talks in that book. That's a great book. I love that book. He talks in there about Carrie and how he threw the first couple of chapters in the garbage, and Tabitha pulled them out and spread them out and read them and said, this is really good stuff. I see why you threw it in the garbage, because women don't do this with a tampon, and they would never do that, and this and that. And she critiqued the work based on her experience as a female, because he was writing a female character, and that sent him back to the drawing board. But even in Carrie, King had written a woman, and he read it and said, I don't, and he crumpled Carrie up and threw it in the garbage. And until he got input from a woman who was able to, because you remember that locker room scene is what I'm talking about, the big setup, until he got input from his wife, who gave him, hey, no, this is really what happens in these female locker rooms, was he able to bring the story to the next, stage. But I guess it's like anything else, you learn, so if you write from a certain perspective over and over again, and you find that it's okay and people are enjoying it, then you just have to take the chance.